Hello and welcome to Tech Deals Game Performance Review Counter-Strike Global Offensive. We're playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive today on an Intel i5-2400 base machine, 8 gigs of RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce GT 730 1GB graphics card. Now, I've previously covered this graphics card and the machine it's installed before, linked to those videos in the video description below. But in short, you're looking at about $150 worth of computer and graphics card to play a game at very good performance. Now, we are playing at 1080p Full HD at medium detail. You can see the details right there on the screen. All the presets are set to medium. Fraps was used for the minimum, maximum, and average game performance numbers that you will see at the end of this video, but it was not used to record the video you're watching. Instead, an external HD60 Pro hardware capture card was used for the video capture itself. Since the video was captured on another computer, there is no effect on the frame rate for the game that you're watching. In fact, the computer doesn't even know it was being recorded. The numbers in green at the top left corner of the screen are from MSI Afterburner, a wonderful program you can download yourself from MSI.com. It gives you real-time information about what your computer, your CPU, your graphics card, etc. are doing. The first line, GPU, is the actual GT 730 graphics chip itself, and the 99% simply means that we are using all of the GPU's compute power. Basically, the graphics chip is the limitation to further performance in this game. The temperature you can see there is 69 degrees Celsius, warm, but well within operational limits. And the fan speed is reported as 0 RPM, and the reason for that is this card has no fan. It is passively cooled. 901 megahertz is the clock speed of the chip on this card. The memory line is not your main system RAM, that is the memory on the graphics chip itself. There is 1 gigabyte of VRAM on this card. At medium detail, you don't need a 2 gigabyte card, 1 gigabyte would be enough. There is 2 gigabyte versions of this card, don't waste your money, just get the one. The CPU line is our Intel i5-2400 processor. Because this has 4 true processing cores, 50% CPU usage means that we're using 2 of our processing cores fully. This game would run exactly the same on a Pentium dual core or an Intel i3 as it does on this i5. It simply doesn't need 4 cores. And you can see our temperature there is a very modest 54 degrees. The RAM line, line 4, is in fact the main system RAM, and we're using less than 4 gigabytes. Now, this game will run fine on a 4 gigabyte system, and if you buy one of these i5-2400 machines using my link to eBay in the video description below, you can get a 4 gig machine and you don't have to upgrade it. That being said, it's about $20 to upgrade to 8 gigabytes of RAM, and your machine will run smoother. It will keep everything loaded into RAM. It will use the remaining free RAM as a disk cache. Program load times will get better. Reloading level times in games such as Counter-Strike Global Offensive will be better. I highly recommend the upgrade to 8 if that's something you can do. And then finally, DirectX 9, our real-time frame rate numbers. You can see we're over 50 frames a second, which is really not bad considering how inexpensive this machine really is. The GT 730 is about a $50-$55 graphics card. It's something inexpensive that you can add to older machines to be able to play modest games. Now, this graphics card is never going to be something that runs Battlefield 1 or Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. You just aren't going to run those type of new games on it. But games such as this, games such as League of Legends, games such as Overwatch do play on this card reasonably well. If you have a modern machine, and this is a point worth making. Now, this computer's 5 years old. If you have a 6th generation machine with an i5-6400, there would be no point in buying a graphics card such as this and installing it. Why? Because the 6th generation chips, the i5-6400, comes with Intel's HD 530 integrated graphics chip. That is roughly equivalent in performance to what you're watching right here, the GT 730. Now, this is not installed in a 6400, this is installed in a 2400, a 5-year-old machine, and the integrated graphics would not remotely provide this level of performance. But if you have an older machine, you can absolutely buy a $50 graphics card and get it. And it's completely silent since there is no fan. It's inexpensive, easy to install. on a very inexpensive 5-year-old machine. Speaking of the computer, I mentioned earlier that I would have a link to eBay in the video description below. That link takes you to a pre-sorted, pre-searched list priced lowest to highest for Intel i5-2400 base machines on eBay. These can be found for between $100 to $150. You can get them in both mid-tower and slim cases. A card like this GT730 will fit into either one. If you buy this graphics card for $50 and you buy an i5-2400 machine for $100, you're looking at a $150 computer that will most likely come with 4 gigabytes of RAM and either a 250 or 500 gigabyte hard drive, and will play an awful lot of games. Basically anything that's a couple years old or older will play just fine for very little money. Now that's enough gameplay. How about we go look at the results? And here we are at the results. Average of 52 frames per second, minimum of 30, and a max of 73. It's good overall performance. It was over 40 frames per second most of the time. Now, if that doesn't sound like a lot to you, I will say that the game felt very, very smooth. There was no point during that game where it was not completely controllable. To be sure, if you want the very best performance, you either need more graphics performance or you need to turn down the detail or lower the resolution. But if you are a casual Counter-Strike Global Offensive player, that's certainly good enough to make the game very playable, especially considering that this is $150 worth of computer. Like this video if you like it, don't if you don't. Remember to subscribe to my channel with the big huge red button right down below. Questions and comments go in the comment section below, and as always, check out the video description. Links to buy the GT730 on Amazon and Newegg will be down there. Links to my video on the i5-2400 and links to eBay to go buy an i5-2400 machine will all be down there below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.